Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Cloud Native Coffee Hour. We are back. We took a week off because of technical difficulties, but we're back. We're back. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Better than last week.
Yeah, I would say you didn't take a week off. I mean, yet we tried to click buttons.
We just failed.
We did. It's okay. It's okay. Today is going to be a fun stream. I actually consider today, I was going to say it was going to be a chill stream. I think this is going to be kind of chill because we're going to look at K3s, and we run our cluster on K3s. It's honestly kind of a hobby cluster right now. We try out a lot of different tech on it.
It's our lab.
It is our lab. It's our home lab, but it's our company lab. And we tried out a lot of stuff on it, and we noticed that even though we set it up in the high availability configuration, that it's not load balancing between those HA nodes. And we want to rebuild our cluster, upgrade it, do all the things, and we thought that's one thing we want to fix. And we thought it'd be a cool thing to work through on stream. So today's going to be a working session. We're just going to dig through that and figure out what's not set up 100% correct, because we are creating all the nodes. We're connecting them the way the documentation said to, but it's not load balancing appropriately. So we're going to look into that and see what's going on. You ready, guys?
Yeah. I just, to call it out, HA, high availability, for those that are new, just joining the channel, new to DevOps, whatever. What are we talking about when we're saying that's what we're shooting for and it's not working? Right?
Why don't you answer that question? I was going to bring up the docs real quick here.
Yeah. So in our cluster, we have 12 or so nodes, maybe a few more, depending on how many McCracken slotted in there. And 3 of those are the controller nodes. And in a high available setup, any one of those should be able to go down and the cluster still remains stable. What we were seeing with our cluster is, even though we tried to set it up in HA, all of the traffic was just going to the one node. And so if that node goes down, the cluster's not going to be happy. So that's what we're going to look at fixing today.
Perfect. Okay. You want to say something, McCracken?
Yeah, I would just add that from a Kubernetes architecture perspective, when Sam is talking about HA, we're talking about high availability of the control plane. And so we'll be looking at Kubernetes controllers, aka masters. We say controllers. And our code will reflect the old way. But high availability there, and which means you can't control anything. And like everything still runs. All your apps still run. Like if your control plane goes down, everything's still running. But as we'll take a look at in our case too, our cluster is it's lab, and we have all the inbound traffic also sending to this one place. So if it gets taken out of the old back room, even the customers, they're gonna have problems. So we'll get into it.
So I think where I would like to start is just talking about so I kind of wrote this piece on my own like a year ago, and at the time we were running the normal Kubernetes, and we were having a lot of just issues with resources because Raspberry Pis are kind of small, and I was like, let's do a little experiment, let's try K3s, and it actually worked really good. And so I've automated it with Ansible, and I also tried to set it up with HA, and from my perspective, it looked good. I thought everything was running fine. I didn't do any in-depth testing of the load balancing of those and stuff. And McCracken's been in there a lot lately, and he noticed that's a problem because he's the one swapping out the nodes and stuff. So I think what I want to start with is just going through the docs on how they say to set it up, and then taking a look at the code I wrote and figuring out what I did wrong, basically. Where's Waldo?
Yep.
So I'm going to switch over to the screen share, and if you could navigate to the web browser, and if you could actually just type into Google K3s high availability for me, that would be fantastic. Since I can't send you links right now.
Well, you could just be in Twitch chat.
Oh, good point. But do the embedded one, the Rancher Docs high availability with embedded DB there. Lower.
With embedded DB.
Yep, it's the third result. Up one, right there.
Got it.
Perfect. Okay. So, K3s has added full support for embedded etcd. I don't remember off the top of my head, so this is a working session. I don't remember. It's been a year. If I went with the etcd or if I went with the SQLite. So we'll have to look at the code to see what I did there. But jumping down, to run K3s in this mode, you must have an odd number of server nodes. We have 3. To get started, first launch a server node with cluster init flag to enable clustering and a token that will be used as a shared secret to join additional servers to the cluster. If you notice in the Ansible, and you don't have to switch to that right now, but in the Ansible, I had to, from last week's stream, there are actually 3 types of items in our Ansible. I have masters, workers, and I also have primary master as one of the items. And that's because of this. So the docs here said, hey, you need a primary master. And then the other masters you set up after that connect to it. So that's kind of the background on why the Ansible looks the way it does. After launching the first server, join the second and third servers to the cluster using the shared secret. Okay, so that's what happens. And there is order of operations in the Ansible where it sets up the primary first, followed by the others. Now you have highly available control plane. So that's where it stops. That's where the code stops. It's like, I create the first one, I create the next 2 using the join token, and there we go. Joining additional worker nodes to the cluster follows the same procedure as a single server cluster. There are a few config flags that must be the same in all the server nodes.
Okay. Question, or may I
Go ahead.
interject here?
Yes, please.
So this is good. So when we first started, when we were talking about HA, I made a assumption. Well, I articulated an assumption of what HA meant to me, actually. Sam said what it kind of meant to him, and then I went into some detail on what I thought it meant to me. And one of the things I said was that it means that, if a piece of the control plane goes down, you can't send commands to it anymore. And that is one way to think about a highly available control plane, that I can get to Kube API server in a highly available manner. Kube API server is unavailable on one controller. There's something in front of all 3 of those nodes that can then say, I'll stop sending traffic to the one and I'll go to the other ones. I'll spread it around a little bit. It implies a web traffic load balancer, highly available scenario for that 6443 traffic on Kube API server. When I read this, and you can correct me, but I guess I'm just kind of learning on the fly here. This seems like we probably are set up HA. We have HA etcd. So like if we lose a node, Kubernetes is still HA. Kubernetes isn't going to forget its identity. That's good. Right? Question?
Well,
Thoughts?
I hear what you're saying, and why don't you actually, on the left-hand bar there, the page right above embedded is external. Why don't you click on that one?
Okay.
There's a little bit more information on this page. Those bullet points in the center, the last bullet point. Check that out. No, that's not what I thought it was.
Well, let me read this quick. Yeah, right. That's okay. Let's go back to this for a second. K3s has full support. This is just a notice. K3s has full support for embedded etcd. And etcd is the brain. I mean, that is Kubernetes. That is the key value pair store of where all the pods are, what all the service discovery is, what all the nodes are at, what your pod citers are, all the things, all your secrets.
Read the warning though.
And your dreams. Oh God, no! It runs fine. etcd may have performance issues on slower disks, such as Raspberry Pis. No.
And I'm pretty sure I would. My gut tells me that I read that, and so I run it on SQLite. Would be my guess.
Shall we determine if we're running on? Okay, let's determine what one we're installing. Embedded. This is DQLite. Wait, embedded etcd replaced experimental DQLite. So let's just dig in. Not there. There. Okay, now before we get too far along, oh my God. Okay. Before we get too far along, I want to give a massive shout out to one of our watchers, one of our listeners, who noticed something that we also noticed on stream, but they watched the stream after the fact, watched the VOD and the YouTube video. So like this person, huge shout out, appreciate it a lot, contacted us and was like, hey, you exposed your token. Yes. That is swapped out today. Appreciate it a lot. That's been resolved. Thank you. And thank to all of our very adept and daft watchers and listeners. Appreciate
that was
it.
VR Linux is his handle, and I will actually replay his follow on screen. There you go. Thank you, VR Linux. We appreciate you. He actually joined us in our Discord too. So if there's any new watchers, we have opened up our Discord to the public, and I will throw up the link to that on screen here in a minute. I'll work on that while we're digging through the code.
Yep. Yeah, I woke up the other day and I was like, I was like, I was trying to get out of bed. I was going to take care of school. Like, what? Oh, no. It's a disaster. I was like, we already knew about this. We already handled this. And appreciate it a lot. Appreciate the feedback. Okay. Well, here's our primary master. Let's talk about that.
K3s version 121. That warning was 119, right? So we definitely passed whatever that was.
Correct. Looking at it right now. So maybe the way I'm reading it now is that it actually just uses that by default. It's kind of how I'm taking it now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything on here saying like, hey, add this flag to switch. So
Great.
I'm assuming it's just etcd.
Yeah, was there a fancier way to install this with an external DB? Yeah. We're not doing that one. Well, obviously we're not doing that.
Hey, VR Linux, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us.
Hey. I'll tell you, man, you woke me up. I needed to get up anyway. I appreciate it a lot. It was pretty funny.
Okay,
right.
So the database here, I think, is etcd. So, when we were working with Cube Spray,
Yeah.
Right. We the last iteration of our lab here was CubeSpray, and it had some options for HA configurations as well. And one of its ways of handling it was having an external load balancer, right? At the end of the day, that's kind of what you need to have, because you need to route traffic to each server and like round robin or whatever. Do we want to? I have a question. I don't know if you've tried this. Is there an API server that we can hit on each node?
Yep. Because it's running the K3s binary, which has everything, including etcd.
I mean, have we tested that on the network? Because I mean, in theory, I guess here's just a spitballing. Hey, how can we make this actually HA in the way that you're thinking? And I guess the way that we're all thinking about it is, could we just take one of the pies? Because now we have, we have extra pies on hand here. We could just install a software load balancer on one of the pies, and just load balance those 3 master nodes.
Yeah.
Externally.
Yeah, we could also do some. That's definitely an option. That triggered a thought for me too. That we could. I could make some networking changes and try to route the traffic to one of the other controllers as the primary source of those requests. We could see if that works. That would also.
So VR Linux has a question. You want me to read it? See what you guys think?
Yeah.
He says, I have a home lab like us, and how do we solve the problem of having the master behind a NAT and then having a worker node in Linode? Are you guys familiar with Linode?
Virtualization.
I actually no. It's like honestly, it's like AWS or Google, but I think a better. What's the other one? Sam, that's DigitalOcean. Thank you.
Yeah.
Has the whale. It's like DigitalOcean, but a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he's got some workers out in Linode, but he's got his master on-prem at home and on his network, and he's trying to join that worker. I don't think that's doable, because the way the control plane, when you set it up, I mean, this is just me, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe when you're setting up, if you do Kubernetes the hard way with Kelsey Hightower, you actually have to set up your subnet that all the workers are going to be on. And I think what VR Linux is describing right now is actually a SIG right now in the Kubernetes space called... I'm blanking on the word for this.
Multi-cluster?
I think they renamed it multi-cluster, but it had a more like fancy name before.
This is pretty fresh, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff in the multi-cluster, and then, yeah, just some of that stuff you get potentially with a cloud provider. Them setting up your VPNs basically to connect those, whether they're regions or different zones.
Okay, so a VPN network. He just said a buddy of his got it half working using VPN. That would make sense, right? Because a VPN creates a virtualized subnet, right? So I can see that being a solution. I don't know how stable it would be necessarily, but I don't know if it actually needs to be either, because McCracken, you were mentioning at the very beginning of the stream how if the whole HA thing, if the control plane goes down, that doesn't mean the containers stop running, right? The containers are just running on the subsystem. So all the control plane does is schedules things, fixes pods if they go down, responds to events, all the things. But it doesn't need to be there for your app to keep running. So,
correct. But yeah, dropping packets. There's a lot. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that are trying to communicate between the kubelet on your worker and the control plane, but it's just always kind of trying to reconcile, because that's what Kubernetes is, a giant reconciliation engine. You just state the state you wish, and it will try to make it so. So yeah, I mean, it's not ideal if it's not super solid. VPN,
I feel like in that
hey.
situation, so he's saying that the packets are dropping. I would agree. The VPN probably isn't the most stable way to do it. I think that's a really clever way to do it. I didn't think about that, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's not a stable way to run like production workloads. I think it could work in like a lab situation.
Yeah.
But specifically, the dropped packets might not matter if, instead of using an ingress controller to route traffic, let's say you're hosting a website on one of the workers that you have out in Linode, and you're hosting the whole cluster on a VPN, whatever. Instead of using an ingress controller, if you exposed the app to the internet using Node port, which generally isn't recommended, but if you did it with Node port, you're actually exposing that actual worker directly. So you're not going through, the Kubernetes networking stuff. So that might make the app actually pretty stable in terms of end user experience. Maybe. I don't know. That's just a guess. I'm theorizing. Instead of hosting it with an ingress controller or cluster IP.
Yeah. Another project that I'm thinking of as we're talking through this is inlets. I'm pretty sure McCracken, you found that, I don't know, like 6 months ago or something. But
Maybe
that's kind of along the lines of a VPN-ish, but it's more of a cloud native solution for that.
I kind of remember you bringing this up, McCracken.
Yeah, it probably was one of the awesome Cube Weekly or whatever the.
Probably, yeah.
Is it a Cube Weekly? Secure.
Yeah,
And
check
I
this
think one of
out,
the use cases
VR.
was connecting, a worker that was somewhere else. I don't know. I didn't do it, so can't speak to it, but it seemed cool.
Are
See
you
what
ready
the
to
business
save?
model is. Sorry.
You're good.
$20. That's not too bad.
Look at that last line, though. Are you ready to save on your cloud costs and forget about firewalls and NAT?
Yes.
There you go, VR.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your project. You go and try this out, and we'll have you as a guest on the stream, and you can tell us how it goes.
Yeah, because I'm actually curious. This is an interesting aside. Why would you run? What's the why? Like, why would you have your control plane just not near your stuff? Like, what's the giant benefit to that? I don't know. That there probably is one. Just cost? I don't know.
Yeah.
Scalability for your home lab, or for your lab basically, or your cluster scalability. I've got my workers out here. I'll take care of the other piece though. I can shoulder that burden.
I feel like another use case is like for us, let's say we were going to start playing around with machine learning and we needed some GPUs. Right? Now I know you have extra GPUs on hand and we could probably do something really fun hardware wise, but it'd be pretty cool to, hey, I'm just going to create a quick node out in the cloud that has a GPU available on it and add it to my cluster. So now I can schedule resources and I don't have to have a separate cluster just for those. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun networking thing, I mean, coming from development, we took for granted all that stuff, and with our home lab, it's all connected together, so we got it easy. But some of those networking challenges are way up here.
You said it. It's in the name. Okay.
All right, let's I think it was an awesome question, awesome aside, but let's get back to the K3s stuff.
Yep.
So, where did we leave off?
We
were
left
talking
off-
about HA. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
We left off, I believe, we are HA. We are HA from a control plane database backend perspective. The definition of HA that we're now exploring is are we highly available from the uh, API server. Like, we're literally only talking about a Kube API server being highly available, or users or administrators, which
Does that
is our
affect
use case.
ingress at all?
No, I don't think so.
So where does our ingress come in through?
Well, sorry. Is it related to ingress? No. We definitely have the exact same problem state as ingress. Yes. So, agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah, the ingress. So the traffic.
Yeah.
The traffic is hosted as a type load balancer, which is exposed basically as a node port on one of the Raspberry Pis. So more or less all the traffic is coming in through a single Raspberry Pi, which is acting like a normal load balancer, more or less. So if that one Pi goes down, yes, we're also SOL there too. So I would be curious if we could set up another Pi with the sole responsibility of load balancing the API server, and maybe I haven't looked at K3s, so I have to look at its configs, but could we set up traffic to have multiple nodes that it's exposed on, and then load balance those as well on this Pi?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we could use the highly available other controllers to host that. I don't know if we'd need dedicated hardware even to do that. Yeah, I think that would be it. It's really interesting. Because that is it. I mean, that would do it. Kind of cool. Never thought about, or when we've been talking about it, never really thought about it until we talked through it like this. Oh, it is HA. etcd HA.
Yeah, you should actually, when I was working on the HA stuff for one of our clients, I had to put together the business case and stuff for the company. So I was trying to put together a very well stated thing, and I brought up the HA docs on Kubernetes.io. It's really detailed. It's actually super good, and it actually goes into the detail of what does HA mean to Kubernetes, and it talks about basically all the different pieces that need to be HA and kind of the use cases for each one. And the API server, honestly, being the least important of the HA components.
Yep.
And it was so well written. I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
What were the other bits? I mean, obviously etcd is the most important part because that is your cluster.
If you bring it up,
what? Yeah. What was it?
Just type in Kubernetes .io space HA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you. Stacked control plane nodes. etcd are co-located. External etcd. Sure.
You should carefully consider, if you go back up, like that one, you should carefully consider the advantages and disadvantages of each topology before setting up an HA cluster.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this page is just really well written. Personally, I liked it a lot.
They have editors, Makita. Don't worry. It's fine. They have people like Scotty. They got English majors looking at this stuff. Because they can talk more better. Stacked etcd. Yep. Which I think is kind of how. This is basically how I think this is my default way of thinking about any of these clusters. And certainly K3s is basically this. External, that's really cool. Okay.
So now,
we're not gonna go ahead.
So I was saying, so right now, what we're saying is we're HA. If we went and unplugged the primary controller, the cluster would continue functioning, even if pods crashed they would get rescheduled. Am I right?
They should be restarted on the place that they crashed, yeah.
But new things could be scheduled. The only thing is the API server wouldn't be available because, of the network not being available.
Oh.
Right?
Correct. Yep. Yep. I mean, we could even test that, honestly, on stream. I mean, you could unplug the primary master, and if our Argo instance is still available, then it's running just fine.
Let me check something. I looked at this earlier. Is that where we want to go next, you think? Just poke at this really quick?
I think it'd be a cool ending. I mean, if we think we're HA, then...
Yeah, so, well, I gotta look something up really quick. What would be the steps? Could you write this, or...
Yeah, so here's a test that I just came up with, okay? So we have argo.devsoperative.com, which is our personal Argo instance. And there's nothing there. So people, if you want to go there, you can. It's password protected. You can't get in. But yeah, so we have it hosted on the internets, and go to it real quick. I was just there earlier. Why did it not come up for you?
What the hell?
Came up for me.
Works on his machine.
Nope, it's just argo.devsoperative.com. HTTPS.
Why doesn't it like it?
I don't know, mine even says it's secure.
Yeah.
Why don't you use a real web browser?
Tilted.
See what I had up in Chrome before I last closed it. Perfect. A real search engine. Bing. I can't believe you thought it was my browser. I'm like literally offended.
I'm just super... Yeah, it comes up... Sam, can you get to it?
Yeah.
Really? Am I spelling it right? What?
Try /login, I guess. VR Linux, can you get to it?
Hang on. Is it because I'm near it?
Right. That's what I'm wondering. From your own network, is something...
Oh, no, I can get to it fine on... huh. I mean, like... Ugh, look at that. That's really strange, isn't it? What's wrong with my web browser? Like ad block or something? Can't be.
Well, you know what? Edit the host file for the local network then. Do you want to go that far, Dan?
No. Hang on.
Oh, it's going straight to 192.168.
No. No.
No,
that
sorry. No,
is not the right IP address. That is true. That is not the right IP address. Did I get a new IP? Wait a minute. Maybe that is the right IP. Weird.
All right. Well, just let's. I guess you don't have to get to the website. It's fine. We all can test it, including our viewers. So the steps are, if we unplug the primary control node of the cluster,
Uh-huh.
and we could validate that it's down, because we wouldn't be able to hit the API server. At least we wouldn't be able to hit the API server on its normal exposed address, right? And then we would go to the website, and if the website's still up, as long as traffic isn't also hosted on that node. Let's look at what node traffic is exposed on.
Yep, I'm looking at all that. Can you take down my situation?
Yeah, so another thing I was thinking too, if you SSH to one of those nodes, you would have kubectl K9s. Like, you could kill some pods, watch some pods, they should still come up.
What is wrong with my situation? I'm checking hosts. Appreciate you a lot. I mean, no, I don't have anything in here. I shouldn't have to. How does it... Works great on my gaming rig.
So it's just your laptop?
Yeah.
Same network.
Yeah. I mean, one's Wi-Fi. One's wired. It doesn't matter. It's the same.
It's weird.
Yeah, we heard about the Argo CD vulnerabilities. Wrong OS. Yeah, rip. Keck. Banned. All right. Chris LBC in the chat. Ban him. Yeah, mocking my Mac OS. Just kidding. Kind of. You get one warning. Banned. Boom. He's my enforcer.
Well, okay. Let's.
I'll tell you.
I want to walk through this. There's a lot of changes we
Okay.
want to do to K3s, right? But what are some things we can do right now? So I liked Sam's things. I think in order to test that, though, we'd need to be able to access the API server on a different control node. Can we do that?
Yes. So, point of information. All traffic for API server and for ingress is coming in to the same node right now. Everything's coming to the same spot. So it's not being distributed or whatever. It's fine. So I need to make some networking changes first. And in theory, then we could test that. If I take it down now, I would basically take down everything. I would take down control plane and ingress. So is that what we want to try to do? We need to split it first, which we probably should do now that we're talking through this a little deeper.
How about we bring up K9s and we help me, Dan. I'm so just burnt out. What is the name for making a node unavailable for scheduling?
Cordon. Yeah.
Cordon, thank you. Why don't we cordon the main node and then bounce the traffic controller pod to get rescheduled on a different node?
The traffic pods, it's a daemon set, so there is one on every node.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I don't think there's a special, which just to go back to what you were theorizing about earlier, or trying to recollect too. Pretty sure it'll handle any traffic from traffic on any node running the traffic daemon set. So what I can do is repoint the inbound traffic, especially if LBC in the chat is okay with it. I could repoint inbound normal traffic to one of the other nodes, see if everything still runs. That would be step one. So those who can get to, you guys are going to be the testers. I'm going to be the administrator. Right?
Okay. Can I bring the screen share back up?
You may do that. Please hold while I get something that would be worth looking at on here. Because I'm not going to show the networking changes that I have to make.
I was really hoping with this stream I was gonna be. I want to try some different editing. You know, like up to this point, I've just been kind of like posting the full streams. I was hoping this one was gonna be like a good one to break up into chunks. You know, when you watch like some of the bigger like Asmongold or something, he like reposts his VODs, but he like chops them just to like the interesting parts and then like sews them together. I wanted to try it with this one, but this has just been kind of like a conversational stream, so I'll just probably post the whole thing again.
You may share my screen. Yes.
Perfect. So, what are you going to do? And what do you want the audience participation to be?
Tester participation would be, can you verify that you can get to Argo? The answer is yes, you can, because even I can.
So what network changes did you make?
So annoyed. I didn't make it yet. Step 1 is verify the thing. I'm about to. Traffic right now is all flowing into this guy. I'm going to change it so traffic flows into, you know what? We'll just do an actual node. So it's off the control plane entirely. So we're being insanely efficient. We're scheduling pods on the control plane. So it's just like the control plane doesn't get much. It actually just does double duty.
Dude, that's the change we should make. I know what you're talking about, right? So you have that IP address on the port forward of your router, right?
Yes.
So the port forward goes to that IP address. Dude, we just add, I'm saying dude way too much because I'm excited. You add the Raspberry Pi with the software load balancer, and you load balance all the nodes, and then you just port forward to that.
Yeah. I mean, you could just put an HA proxy on.
That's fine. Yeah. That's a good choice. HA proxy's nice.
Nginx reverse proxy. Come on, baby.
That's fine too. Lots of tools. Argo page.
Metal LB. Oh yeah, let's go ahead.
Yeah, so it took 1.5 seconds to load. I'd say that's acceptable, especially for some Raspberry Pis. On a not a commercial line, just on like a residential internet connection.
Yeah. Especially if your location is like U.S. Midwest, then it if it's not anywhere near U.S. Midwest region, then deal with it. I have great internet here.
You do. You have decent internet. To be fair, though,
okay.
We used to host our website on our cluster, and we're like, let's move it to like a bigger place. Which felt bad because we're like, yeah, let's host our own website and we'll do it all on the thing. But we're like, hey, I don't want our website to go down when we're playing with our lab. You know, like our websites are our business landing page. We shouldn't like be messing with that. So we put it on Squarespace, and we're happy. You're in Norway? Oh, dude, that's awesome. 13 milliseconds. There we go.
Now we're talking. Yeah. What's the I'm coming to Norway. I'm gonna go to Norway and use what's the dang the steam rooms situation. God, what? Help me. Yeah, what do they do over there? I did had one of these at an Airbnb up north in Sault Ste. Marie this year, and it was awesome. Bro slept in it. What's it called? What's the steam room thing called?
Sauna.
It's made of sauna. You slept in the sauna. You camped in the sauna. It's madman.
With it on?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not dead.
Like, dang, man.
He'd be
Probably
dead.
gonna be dead.
Well,
I want to see Norway, though. Honestly,
well, yeah.
like I've done China, I did a lot of China, and I saw quite a bit of Europe the last couple years back. I really want to see Northern Europe. I want to see Norway. I want to see Iceland, Denmark. That would be so cool. That area I find to be gorgeous.
Okay, it has been shifted. If you guys would
Check it again.
Check it again. Traffic should be routing to.
It's still loading for me.
Okay, good.
Looks good.
Very
VR,
good.
is it still loading for you?
Is it loading in Norway? Is it snowing in space? Cool.
Awesome. It loads there too. So we are Gucci. I kind of like the idea of doing the load balancer thing, though.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Well, I mean, exactly, and that's, I think, in my mind, and this is where we just weren't communicating very cleanly yet. I thought that, oh yeah, that's what that means. That's what that meant to me the most at the time. Obviously, in hindsight, etcd being clustered way more important than the front end traffic being clustered. Still really important that the traffic's clustered, but I could now. We're good. We're getting here, time. What do you want to do? I mean, I could take the thing
I was
down.
gonna say like, I was gonna say, hey, do you have a Raspberry Pi just sitting there with Ubuntu already loaded up? We could just install Nginx real quick.
Oh no, I'm not doing that. That's gonna be like a whole stream series getting that to work. I'm just kidding. It won't take that long. But yeah, I mean, it's changed. I don't know.
Okay,
actually,
so that's
to really
fine.
prove it, I could literally turn this guy off.
Can we do one more test? And I think you can just do this one live, maybe, because we have like RBAC and everything set up. Can you hit can you use kubectl against a different control plane node?
Yeah, if you take away the if you take my screen off the screen again, I would.
Okay. Let's do 2 more tests. So that's going to be one of them. And then the other one will be, actually, I mean, just for the stream sake, you walk to the back room, after you make this change, you walk to the back room, you unplug the primary node, and then you bring up K9s connected to the other master node, controller node, and we kill a pod and see it come back. Or get scheduled. Maybe we just deploy an Nginx busy box or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because as long as it gets scheduled and stuff, I'd say that it is HA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you are safe to put me back up.
Okay, you're safe to put us back. So VR said he's interested in how we got that working. So right now we're talking specifically about K3s. Are you using K3s or are you using a different distribution? You're on K3s. So Dan, if you don't mind, could you just bring up the docs again? So this page right here explains it. It's actually really straightforward. When we started the stream, maybe you joined a little bit late, but we went over these docs, and I automated this with some Ansible. And actually, we'll publish the Ansible here soon. It's just I haven't had time to clean it up. As you pointed out, we have some tokens in there, and obviously that's in our Git history too. So I'm gonna have to actually create a new repo and everything. And I just haven't prioritized it. I'll get it out there, I promise. Basically, what you do is the way K3s works is that you have a primary controller or master, whatever you want to call it, the primary node, and then you have to create 2 more, or however many you want, but they recommend an odd number of other controllers. So the way you do it is you create your primary with a join token, then you create the other masters with the same join token and the address to it. And there's the 2 commands, and that's it. And then after that, you just join workers the normal way. So my Ansible code that I wrote walks through it in that order. It creates the primary master, creates the next two masters, connects it together, and then it creates the workers. Yep. Okay, let's go back to the demo here because we're almost out of time.
And you want me to take down the primary and
Can you
then try scheduling stuff?
So did you made the modification? Can you just do a get pods real quick? Great. Yeah, I would walk in the back room. I would unplug the primary node.
Well, I'm not an absolute savage.
Are you just going to say shut down or something?
Yes.
I'm not a savage. I'm not going to walk there.
Well, the funny thing is I have to walk back there to turn the dang thing back on. But, so remind me. Siri, remind me. Let me trigger everybody's Siri or Alexa. Or she who we shan't speak of on live streams.
Right, so we should see that go to not ready, right?
We should see that go to sleep, ideally.
It is
That's better.
Cut off on the stream.
I know.
There it is, not ready.
Cool.
Okay, so the API server is working. So
Thank
that's
you,
good.
Thank you, monitoring. Okay.
Let's try now. Can you do a let's deploy BusyBox. So like
K-run.
K-run. Thank you. I just don't do those like simple low-level commands anymore, and they're so hard to remember.
And then -- image BusyBox. Yeah. Seems pretty good.
I mean, it just ran and stopped. Ooh!
That's normal. It's probably not an ARM image.
Yeah. Come on,
but
man.
it was scheduled on Node 1.
Yeah.
Which is good. Node 1 is a worker, right?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm on a working control plane controller. Initiated a schedule from it. It communicated to Node 1. Tried to schedule BusyBox. So I would say that's confirmed.
Cool. Yeah, so the HA is working. Great. So what we want to do now is we want to HA the API server and the ingress controller.
Yep.
I think we do that next stream. Next stream,
yep.
we prep for it. You know, we'll get the Raspberry Pi ready to go. We'll get it flashed with Ubuntu, and we'll go through on stream setting up Nginx in front of all those things, and then we'll fix the port forward on your router.
That could be a thing. That could be a thing. Now, how do I get rid of BusyBox? I'm just kidding. We'll do that later. It's going to be busy.
I think you can just say kubectl delete pod BusyBox.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, we didn't do what I actually thought we were going to end up doing, which was I thought we were going to make some modifications to the Ansible and all this type of stuff. But I think this was good. I think we proved that the K3s HA configuration works. And we talked through what HA means to Kubernetes and why it's important. So I think it was good. I think it was a good stream.
I mean, I learned something today. I like it. Very cool.
That's
All
awesome, dude. Did you guys see what VR wrote? No, Sam did not. He shook his head. So he was just saying that he's he's been learning the physical setup of Kubernetes, and the stream was very timely. So it's awesome. I'm glad that it was good for you. So
Yeah,
it's fun for
thanks
us.
for joining us in Discord. Hopefully others will too.
Yeah, and we're in Discord all the time. It's we love Discord. So yeah, if you ever have questions or whatever, we're always hanging out in there. My Discord has way too many Discord servers in it because I play a lot of video games, and I join the Discords to get better at those. So, anyways, all right, you guys good?
I think so.
Yep.
Okay, I will work on posting this VOD, and yeah, thank you for joining us on the Cloud Native Coffee Hour. I did not end up posting the Discord link.
You hate to see it.
Right.
That's
Discord
okay. I'll work on it for next time.
/devs operative.
Hold on. Let me go back to the interview 3 people page before you guys jump off. And I want to add it to the screen. Please hold. I've got this. Add text. Discord link. And I think there's actually some Discord like integrations with Twitch that I could probably add. But what is the address, Sam?
What is the address?
Yeah.
It's discord.gg/devsoperative.
Perfect. And I need a font size. We're gonna make it nice and big here. Boom. There you go. For those that haven't joined, you can join our Discord there. We're always hanging out. If you have questions, we'll respond, and we're just gonna have a nice dialogue. We're trying to build a little community up. So, thank you very much for joining us on the Cloud Native Coffee Hour. We will see you next Wednesday, and have a wonderful week. Talk to you soon.